Hello, I'm Dr. Richard Shane. The video you're about to watch is from an in-service on sleep presented to the Boulder, Colorado Police Department. Police officers in uniform, detectives who don't wear uniforms, and other department personnel. And yet, this video is for everyone, because sleep easily can help people in such high-stress occupations as police work. It can help you.
Dr. Richard Shane is the behavioral sleep specialist for New West Physicians in Colorado. Prior to that, he was the behavioral sleep specialist for Lutheran Medical Center Sleep Center in Denver. Dr. Shane is here to show us a way to sleep better in the midst of stress. Dr. Shane?
So thank you for attending this in-service, and I also want to thank Commander Yamaguchi and Sergeant Wegscheider and the Boulder Police Department Wellness team for making this possible. First, I want to acknowledge I'm not a police officer, so I have not experienced the same stressors that you have. But I have experienced extreme stress in my life, and that's actually what led me into the field of sleep, and here we are. We'll talk about how all those pieces fit together. This in-service will last just about 30 minutes, and everything is going to be really easy to understand, and you don't need to take notes. There's nothing to memorize. At the end of the in-service, you'll receive notes and a summary card that makes everything easy to use. I'll state the obvious. As police, you have extremely high stress, and high stress can then make it difficult to sleep. And then when you sleep poorly, that has a damaging effect on your professional life and on your personal life, and ultimately it can put your safety and the safety of those you serve at risk. I'm going to show you a very simple way to fall asleep or back to sleep more quickly and easily, even in the midst of stress, and then that will have a beneficial effect on your professional and personal life. And you don't have to believe what I'm about to show you. You can put it to the test. Sergeant Richard Pantel of the Colorado Springs Police Department had this to say after he watched a previous video and then used the Sleep Easily method. My police work hours are from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. Sleep is more difficult if you're working nights and trying to trick your body into sleeping during the day. I found Sleep Easily much more useful than anything else I've experienced in the last 27 years. Take it from someone who improved his daytime sleep in the first week. This system works. So, quick overview of what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about the damaging effect of poor sleep, the benefits of good sleep, but all of that is just kind of information. Our main focus is going to be on the solution. What do you do when your head's on the pillow? I'm going to show you a very simple and logical way to approach and then actually cross over into sleep. And then we'll finish with an easy way to reduce stress during the day, even when your eyes are open and you're in the midst of activity. A little bit about how I came to the field of sleep medicine. I've been a psychotherapist since the late 1970s, and some years ago, I had a severe crisis in my life, and from that, I developed severe insomnia. And it was torture at first, but then I spent years inwardly exploring and resolving my own insomnia. And in the process, what I discovered is that there are subtle but easy to feel body sensations that are like switches to calm the mind, emotions, and body into sleep. After I discovered that, I did further research into the neurophysiology of sleep and developed the Sleep Easily method. A few years ago, there was an independent study done with the Sleep Easily method tested by United Airlines pilots, Denver Police Department, and the Boulder Fire Department and the general public. 81.6% of the participants reported that they slept better, and the vast majority reported that they slept better starting the first night or within the first few nights. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And in the written materials you'll receive, there's a link to that study report. So I want to begin by presenting some facts from studies that have been done regarding police and sleep, and also sleep and the general population. And the written materials you'll receive also contain a link to all of these studies. Researchers at Harvard Medical School found that police with sleep disorders reported more uncontrolled anger toward suspects, had more fatigue-related errors and safety violations, fell asleep more while driving, and had increased absenteeism. Researcher David Blake conducted a study with police officers in simulated shoot, don't shoot, deadly force situations, and found that when police sleep poorly, they choose to shoot more often than is necessary. Officer Blake and I co-authored an article on police and sleep that was published on policeone.com. National police expert Dr. Brian Vila and other researchers found that fatigue from sleep loss decreases alertness, impairs your memory, decision-making, and problem-solving skills, and slows your reaction speed. When you're awake for 18 hours without sleep, you have a slowed reaction speed equivalent to a blood alcohol content of 0.05%. When you're awake for 24 hours, you have a slowed reaction speed equivalent to a blood alcohol content of 0.1%, which is the legal limit for drunk driving in all 50 states. Poor sleep increases stress, anxiety, depression, and irritability. Studies show that people who sleep poorly have 60% higher rate of injury, 3 times the amount of sickness, increased pain, and poor sleep increases your risk for high blood pressure, heart disease, weight gain, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. Now, I know this is a depressing list. I promise you we're going to get to the solution first. But I present this because people need to know sleep is far more important than just feeling better. People who sleep poorly have increased healthcare costs, and poor sleep damages personal relationships. The Police Policy Study Council has a website article whose title is "Sleep Deprivation is Public Enemy #1 for Cops." Dr. Bill Lewinsky and the Force Science Institute, they study and train police about high-stress, rapidly unfolding force situations. And the Force Science Institute published an article entitled, "Our Cops Are Ticking Time Bombs for Lack of Sleep." Now, just so you know you're not alone, the National Sleep Foundation did a poll that found that 58% of Americans, that's 95 million people, report one or more symptoms of insomnia every night or almost every night. And I'm sure that figure is higher in such a stressful occupation as you're involved in. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention call insufficient sleep a public health epidemic. So I promise you, we're going to get to the solution in just a moment, but I'd just be curious to hear from you, when you don't sleep well, how does that affect you? Grumpy.
Short.
Grumpy and short-tempered, yep. Anybody else? Lack of focus. Get more easily upset. Pardon? Poor decision making, yes. So we've talked about the damaging effect of poor sleep. Now let's get to the good news, the benefits of good sleep. When you sleep better, you think more clearly, you have improved alertness, decision making, and problem solving abilities, improved reaction speed and safety, increased energy and productivity, decreased stress, anxiety, depression, and irritability. When you sleep better, you have decreased sickness and pain, reduced risk for high blood pressure, heart disease, weight gain, and diabetes, and have decreased healthcare costs. When you sleep better, you have reduced accidents, injuries, and absenteeism, and improved relationship with others. Now, let's say you weren't here for a seminar on sleep, and I just told you there's one change you could make in your life that has all of those benefits. I'm sure everyone would say, sign me up, tell me about that. Well, that one change is good sleep, has all of those benefits. So that can attract you to why you want to sleep better. Now we're going to get into how do you actually do it. So now we're going to get into the solution. How do you actually sleep better? So you might have read or heard, most people have read or heard about sleep supporting behaviors, like have your room be dark and things like that. Those are good, but they're rarely enough. What I'm going to show you is, when your head's on your pillow, how to actually cross over into sleep. if you're like most of us and you like to be in control, what I'm going to show you are switches to calm your mind, emotions, and body into sleep. This is not going to involve hypnosis or meditation. It's all simple, logical steps. So in your police training, you develop tactical skills. Think of sleep as a survival skill. Now, a lot of people in our culture think of sleep as a waste of time. But just consider that when you sleep better, the next day you're more efficient, you're more productive. So sleeping better actually saves time. In this brief presentation, the realistic goal is not that this is going to completely solve everyone's sleep difficulties, but my goal is that this will make a significant and noticeable improvement in your sleep just from what you learn in this short amount of time. And for people who want additional help, at the end of the presentation, I'll mention a resource. At the beginning of this presentation, I mentioned that I discovered body sensations that are switches to calm the mind, emotions, and body into sleep. I'm going to show you 5 simple body sensations. And in a few minutes, I'll put them up on a slide for you to see. One of the characteristics of what I'm about to show you, and you'll use at home, is you don't need to first calm your mind and emotions, because that's the struggle that blocks most people. What this will be is, in the midst of whatever's going on in your mind and emotions, there's a simple way to get the body feeling of falling asleep. And when you do that, your mind and emotions become calm by themselves. So the guideline is body first, mind follows. The first body sensation, it might seem unusual, but just try it out. It's your tongue. Most people in our culture, as a reaction to stress, press their tongue against the roof of their mouth. It's almost like bracing against stress. And that actually increases the stress. When your tongue is calmer, that's a switch to calm your mind, emotions, and body. So we're going to do a quick exercise here. You won't do it on the way to sleep, just one time here. And if you're watching this on video, please do it with us. What I'd like for you to do now is press your tongue against the roof of your mouth. Really hard, and notice the effort it takes to do that. Now stop doing that. Allow your tongue to be a little calmer, and it can be anywhere in your mouth. It can even be lightly touching the roof of your mouth or your teeth, just not pressing. And just notice how that feels. And remember, that exercise of pressing your tongue, that's only one time here. Don't do it on the way to sleep. So the next body sensation to sleep is your breath. When most people think about breathing and sleeping, they think about breathing slowly, breathing deeply, breathing into their abdomen. All of those are fine for during the day, but they're too much effort on the way to sleep. We need something simpler. So the key is, when you're anxious or upset, if you listen to your breath, you'll hear that you're breathing more loudly. When you're calm and relaxed, your breath is quieter. So we're going to just use that in reverse. When you allow your breath to become quieter, it automatically calms your breath in just the right way. You don't have to manipulate it. And that calms your mind, emotions, and body. So we'll do another quick exercise just for here. Don't do it on the way to sleep. And if you're watching on video, please join us with this. Just for a moment, put one hand on your chest and breathe a little bit more deeply than usual, just for some breaths. And notice, as you feel your hand, you can feel that as you inhale, your chest rises, and as you exhale, your chest kind of moves inward. So it's moving in towards your heart. Just feel that for one more deep breath, that movement. And then when you're done, you can put your hand down. Now, in a moment, I'm going to show you how that movement, when you exhale and your chest moves inward, how that calms your heart, which again, calms your mind, emotions, and body. And remember, that was just an exercise for one time here. Don't do that on the way to sleep. So now we get to, how do you actually sleep? I'm going to teach this to you with a very brief guided process. Now in this process, the goal is not to fall asleep here. It's just to feel these body sensations. But then when you're at home and you're in bed and you have more time and you feel these body sensations deeply, then you'll just continue on your way into sleep. And we'll also talk about falling back to sleep. Remember, there's no need to memorize anything. At the end of this presentation, you'll receive notes and a summary card that just make it easy to use this. When your head's on your pillow, you don't concentrate on your pillow. You just gently feel it. In a very similar way with these body sensations, don't concentrate on them. Just gently feel them very easily. And even if your awareness drifts, you start thinking of something else, it's very easy to again become aware of these pleasant body sensations and feel them. So again, no concentration needed. And for this guided process, in a moment I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, but if you don't want to do that, it's okay just to look down. The whole purpose is just so you're not looking around distracted. Think of it like taking a little vacation from your day. So here in the room, or if you're watching this on video, just get comfortable, close your eyes, or look down. Like I said, there's no need to calm your mind, emotions, or body. In the midst of whatever's going on, just allow your tongue to relax and feel a little softer. You don't have to make your tongue relax. Just allow it. And it can be anywhere in your mouth, even lightly touching the roof of your mouth or teeth. And when your tongue is softer, the back of your tongue becomes calmer. And that begins to calm deeper inside you. Now the next step is optional, only if it's easy. Allow your throat to begin to become calmer, more open, like when you yawn. Don't make your throat calmer, just allow it. And if that's not easy, just allow your tongue be relaxed, a little softer. And then allow your breath to begin to become quieter. Don't make your breath quieter, just allow it. And as your breath begins to become quieter, begins to become calmer. And as you exhale, your chest moves inward toward deep in your chest, your heart area. That can begin to calm your heart. So as you exhale, just notice your chest and the feeling in your quiet breath move inward toward deep in your chest, your heart area. That begins to calm your heart. You just keep doing that, and I'm going to just summarize it. Allow your tongue to be calmer. Possibly your throat calmer. Breath quieter. And as you exhale, your chest and the feeling of your quiet breath move inward toward deep in your chest, your heart area, beginning to calm your heart. And those sensations blend together to create a feeling of comfort deep in your chest. I'm going to just say that once more, summarizing. Allow your tongue to be calmer. Possibly your throat calmer. Allow your breath to become quieter. And as you exhale, feel your chest and the feeling in your quiet breath move inward toward deep in your chest, calming your heart. Those sensations blend together to create comfort deep in your heart. Just allow yourself to begin to rest in that feeling of comfort deep in your chest. It's like resting in a soft pillow inside you, a feeling of being safe inside you, like indoors, protected, away from everything else going on in your life. There's nothing else you need to do. Just simply rest in the comfort deep in your chest, like a soft pillow. Simply rest in the comfort deep in your chest, like resting in a soft pillow. And just notice how that begins to calm your mind and emotions. And your body likes that feeling, and when you feel it longer, continues to ease into sleep. So I'm going to be quiet now for just about 30 seconds, just so you can feel this on your own without me talking. And then when you're ready, bring your awareness back to the room, open your eyes, stretch if you need to. In a moment, I'm going to summarize the steps, but first, I'd just be interested to hear from you. How did you feel with any of that? Relaxed. If you felt that was even a beginning of relaxation, you could raise your hand. You think you could do that at home? Okay. So just to summarize, there's no need to concentrate. And if your awareness drifts, whatever you're thinking of, it'll be pretty easy to come back to feel these pleasant body sensations of sleep. And there's no need to initially calm your mind or emotions. In the midst of whatever's going on, just these simple steps, what happens is your mind and emotions begin to become calm by themselves. And the steps are: allow your tongue to relax and feel a little softer. Allow your throat to feel calmer and more open, like when you yawn. Allow your breath to begin to become quieter. And as you exhale, feel your chest and the feeling of your quiet breath move inward toward deep in your chest, your heart area, beginning to calm your heart. Now, the old goal was, I got to get to sleep, or I got to get back to sleep. Then, if it doesn't happen soon enough, it becomes, I got to get to sleep. And it's impossible to sleep when you're going, I got to get to sleep. So we want to change the goal and make it easier. The goal will be, instead of having any pressure to fall asleep or back to sleep right away, just feel these body sensations blend together to create a feeling of comfort deep in your chest, which is your heart area. And then just rest in that feeling deep in your chest. Because even if you're not all the way to sleep, resting in that feeling will feel rejuvenating and restful, far better than being anxious. It's like a soft pillow inside you, safe, away from things in your life. It really is like having this retreat to just get inside yourself. Now, you might think, well, how does that quiet the mind? Just consider this analogy. When a bird flies, it needs to keep flapping its wings. When it lands, it can rest. When your mind is thinking, it's like flying around. We're giving it a safe, comfortable place to rest. This is a much easier way to have your mind become quiet than getting into the old struggle of trying to quiet your mind. Your mind and emotions become calmer by themselves, and then your body recognizes that feeling, because it's a feeling that's deeper than relaxation. I call it the feeling of leaning into sleep inside you. Your body goes, oh, I like that feeling. I know that feeling. I just didn't know how to get to it. And it's a feeling of relief, and then your body continues to ease into sleep, and mind and emotions follow. So these are the body sensations that are switches for sleep. But they're not on-off switches, they're dimmer switches. By feeling these body sensations, you get to turn down the inner dimmer switch to approach and then cross over into sleep. Now, if you fall asleep, fine, but your problem is that you wake up too early. Use these steps even while you're falling asleep, even though you feel like you don't need them, because that will help you sleep more deeply, and that will reduce the unwanted awakenings. But if you do awaken too early, the old way might have been to add the reaction of anxiety or anger even, or some sense of, I don't know what to do. And I call that throwing gasoline on the fire. So now you do know what to do, and it will make falling back to sleep easier. Now notice how a couple times I've said we want to make refinements in the goal, because that also helps. So have the goal not be to fall back to sleep right away, but just to feel yourself easing in that direction. That will feel productive. You'll feel good about yourself. It's like, wow, this is better than what I used to do. But even in that, to help with the goal is not that falling back to sleep has to necessarily always be easy, but we want it to be noticeably easier. If you work shift work, using these steps will give you a way to fall asleep more easily during unusual hours.
So what if you wake up an hour earlier than you normally do? Should you go back to sleep or try to go back to sleep, or should you just give up? What's the
Okay, so the question is, if you wake up and it's just an hour before you have to get up, should you try to go back to sleep or should you just give up? There's actually a third answer between those two alternatives. Use these steps without the pressure of having to get all the way back to sleep, but use it to just kind of be curious. How deeply can I get calm and close to sleep? Because that will feel much better, and it will give you more rest without the pressure of having to get back to sleep. And sometimes, without intending to, you get back to sleep. But what that makes me think of is the other, a common guideline in the field of sleep medicine is that if you're not asleep or back to sleep in 20 minutes, you should get up. Well, people say that because they don't want you lying in bed anxious. That's absolutely right. But with this method, you can use these steps not to get all the way to sleep, but to get so close, it's a feeling that I call leaning into sleep inside you. It's a very satisfying feeling, deeper than relaxation. And so even if you're not asleep in 20 minutes or back to sleep, just use these steps to find out how close you can get. That'll feel good. And then lots of times, it'll just start you easing into sleep. Now, of course, if you're lying there for a long time and you want to get up because you think that'll reduce your tension, you can do that, but don't do it quite right away. Now, sometimes in your work, you see disturbing things. So when you're wanting to sleep, if some disturbing image comes to mind, that interferes with sleep. But you all know that when you try to not think of something, you end up thinking of it. So we need different strategy. So if some disturbing image comes to mind, instead, just gently feel any of these body sensations for a little bit. And what you'll find is that the image gradually fades away. Many police departments have done good work adjusting schedules to support good sleep, but in the time you've allotted for sleep, sometimes you may not have fallen asleep or back to sleep as quickly as you'd like. With the simple steps you just learned, you'll fall asleep or back to sleep more quickly. And what that means is you'll be asleep for a higher percentage of the time that you're lying in bed. And in the field of sleep medicine, that's called increasing your sleep efficiency ratio. You'll feel great relief when your sleep is completely better, but you don't have to wait for that, because even when your sleep just begins to get better, you'll feel relief in that. And Another goal refinement to make it easier is don't pressure yourself with the expectation that every night needs to be good sleep. Our goal is just that most nights are good sleep, and if there's some that aren't, just the next night you get back on track to good sleep. Earlier, I said that sleep-supporting behaviors are not sufficient, but now you know the central piece. And that's when your head's on the pillow, how to approach and actually cross over into sleep. Once you have that piece down, then those other sleep-supporting behaviors really do help. And in the notes you're going to receive, there's a list of just simple changes you could make that make sleep easier. At the beginning of this presentation, I said that the goal of such a brief presentation is to create a significant and noticeable improvement in your sleep. That'll be sufficient for many of you. And if any of you want more help with sleep, in your notes, some information about the Complete Sleep Easily program. Okay, we're almost finished. I want to end with an easy way to reduce stress during the day, even while your eyes are open, even while you're in the midst of activity. Here's an example that shows how you do it with your eyes open. Supposing you're walking and you're holding something small, like keys. You're not focused on the keys. You're looking at whatever you're looking at, but you've got enough awareness on the keys that if you dropped them, you'd notice it. In a similar way, in a moment, I'm going to show you how to do something with your eyes open, but just have it be in the background of your awareness, kind of like when you're holding keys. And because you'll do this with your eyes open, you're not going to feel it as deeply as when your eyes are closed, but you're not supposed to, because you're using this during the day when you're functioning. So this will take less than a minute. For you here in this room, or if you're watching this on video, keep your eyes open, but just look away from me, preferably at something that's not moving. While your eyes are open, allow your tongue to become a little more relaxed and softer. Most of your awareness on what you're looking at, just a small part of your awareness, allowing your tongue to relax, be a little softer. And notice how just that begins to calm your mind, emotions, and body. And then look back at me. Just be curious again by a show of hands if you found that even a little bit relaxing. If you'd raise your hand. Okay. And so you just do that with your eyes open during the last 2 minutes of this presentation. Even while you're looking at me and listening to me, just periodically allow your tongue to relax so you can prove to yourself how this is easy to do in the midst of daily life. One of the keys is if your body is tense, it's not so easy to get your body to relax. But if your tongue is tense, it is easy to allow it to relax. And you'll see in the paper on neurophysiology, there are reasons for which just doing that starts to calm everything. And you can do it with your eyes open. You can't do it during complex activities, but every day you got lots of simple activities. Do it during that. Also, because you allow your tongue to relax while your eyes are open, you don't need a whole separate timeout for relaxation like other relaxation methods. You can do this while you're moving around. Just to review what we covered, we talked about the damaging effect of poor sleep, the benefits of good sleep, but most of our focus was for when your head's on the pillow, how to actually cross over into sleep. And then we finished with an easy way to reduce stress during the day while your eyes are open. And remember, even for the last minute while you're listening to me, periodically allow your tongue to relax. The notes that you'll receive cover material that I didn't talk about in this presentation, so please read them. And also there are links to all of the studies that I mentioned, to the paper on neurophysiology, and the summary card that makes these steps easy to use. And if you're watching this on video, to receive and download your free notes, click on the button below your video screen. If you're watching this video in a group training situation, just write down the website, and then when you can, go there to receive your free notes. So in closing, use these simple steps to sleep better tonight, and for the rest of today And in the coming days, just periodically allow your tongue to be calmer. You'll prove to yourself that that's easy and it feels good, and then you'll start wanting to do it more, and then the more you do it, the better it feels. So I thank you for your attentiveness. Have a great rest of your day.